back to my channel. I hope you are all doing really good. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 6 family fun, easy, simple meal ideas that you can join along with and create for your family. I'm also going to be sharing with you 2 delicious, yummy desserts as well. So we're going to start off with this first one. This is cauliflower mac and cheese, and I absolutely adore this recipe. It's a brilliant way to get some vegetables into your children without them even knowing and even tasting at all, because it doesn't taste like cauliflower cheese at all. It just tastes like normal mac and cheese. It's absolutely delicious. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up my cauliflower into little pieces, pop that on the hob with some vegetable stock in there, and then while it's cooking I'm going to prepare my pasta and get that cooking as well, adding a little bit of salt to my pasta. Once the cauliflower is nice and soft, you're then going to want to pop it in a blender. I add some garlic granules in there just to give it a little bit of extra flavour, and salt and pepper as well. Then I add in 300 millilitres of milk and lots of cheese. Then I add in 100 grams of soft cheese as well, and then blend everything together, and this creates your gorgeous cheesy sauce. You're then going to want to pop that in a baking dish so that it can go in the oven. I like to season it with some chives, and I also pop on some breadcrumbs on there and a little bit of extra cheese on top to make it go lovely and golden. I'll usually pop this in the oven at about 180 to 200 degrees and leave it in for about 15 to 20 minutes, and it comes out super delicious and golden on top, and we just serve it up, and there's always some leftovers for the next day for lunch as well, which is always a bonus. Now I'm going to show you how to make a super quick and easy apple crumble. This one is a perfect after tea treat and it's really delicious. So you need to combine 100 grams of plain flour with 50 grams of soft butter together until it looks like crumble. Then add 30 grams of caster sugar to the mix. You will then need to chop up some apples. I usually use about 3. And chop these up into little pieces, and then you're going to pop them into an oven dish. Then I like to sprinkle over a tablespoon of sugar just to coat the apples in them. Then you're going to want to cover your apples in the crumble mix and make sure it's all covered nicely, and pop it in your oven at about 180 to 200 for about 20 minutes. Then it will come out looking like this, absolutely delicious, ready to eat. We usually serve ours with some custard. Moving on to the second meal, I'm going to show you a chicken stroganoff. So I've never actually made this one before. First thing I'm going to do is chop up an onion. I'm also going to chop up some button mushrooms. I don't particularly like mushrooms, but having them in this dish is actually really nice, and I've enjoyed having them. So I'm just chopping up these. I'm then going to pop my chicken thighs into the slow cooker at the bottom. I'm not pre-cooking them or anything like that. I'm just sticking them in raw, because that's the beauty of doing slow cooker meals. You can just pop everything in and leave it. I'm just coating them with a little bit of salt and pepper to season. Also some garlic granules, a little bit of paprika in there, and some parsley as well. Then I'm also going to pop in a little teaspoon of Dijon mustard for flavouring as well, because this is supposed to be like a secret ingredient to like a beef stroganoff, so I thought I would pop it in the chicken one. Then I'm adding in my mushrooms and going to add my onions in as well. Then I'm adding in the full tub of creme fraiche. I think there's about 300 millilitres of creme fraiche. I think that's what it said on the tub. I can't actually remember, but I'm putting all that in, and I'm also adding in some chicken stock. mixing everything together, making sure that it's all covered in the sauces and the seasoning, and then I'm going to leave that on high all day long. I just leave it in from around 8-9 o'clock in the morning to tea time. I leave it on high, I keep checking it, and it comes out looking so delicious. All the chicken has shredded and it's just so tasty. It has so much flavour to it and it's just really, really lovely. We serve it with rice and it's just beautiful. The boys love it and the boys eat the mushrooms as well, which is brilliant because they're really soft and they're just all added in. Then the next simple meal I'm going to show you is some tortilla pizzas. We make these so often in our house. It's such an easy, yummy meal. So all you need is some tortillas, and then you're going to add some tomato puree to the top of that and spread it all over and get it mixed all in. And then this one I am going to use some mozzarella and pepperoni. The boys really like pepperoni on pizza at the minute, so we are using mozzarella and pepperoni. I just seasoned the tomato puree with this pizza seasoning that I got from Aldi, and it's really good, so I just popped a little bit of that on, and then I'm adding my mozzarella and pepperoni. Also just sprinkling on a little bit more grated cheese, and then I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 10 minutes. It doesn't need long at all, just for it to go nice and melted and crusty around the edges. And this is honestly the perfect pizza, little treat that the boys love. So easy to do and yummy as well. So this next meal is a chicken dinner. I'm actually doing my chicken in the slow cooker, even though this is a chicken in the bag that you can just literally pop in the oven. I prefer doing it in the slow cooker because I can leave it in all day long and it's just done and it looks and tastes delicious when it's in the slow cooker. So I'm going to peel some potatoes to make some roasties. I absolutely love roast potatoes. They are so yummy, like my favourite food at the minute. I could have them all the time if I wanted. They are so nice. So what I'm doing is I'm just chopping them up into roast potato shape, and I'm going to parboil them on the Aga, adding a little bit of salt for seasoning. And I'm also going to do some little carrots. I'm just going to pop them to boil first, and then I'm actually going to roast them in the oven. So what I'm doing here is putting 3 tablespoons of oil and some butter into the oven in an oven dish so that can all melt and go really hot. So when my potatoes are ready, which they are, I'm going to pop them in here after giving them a good shake so they go nice and fluffy. I'm going to pop them into my really hot dish, give them a shake, add some seasoning to them, and then pop them back in the oven again for around 40 minutes-ish, and they come out, honestly, these were like the best roasties I'd ever made this day. I was so pleased. They look so delicious when they come out. And I'm also popping in the carrots into the oven as well. For the same amount of time, I'm popping in a little bit of honey because it makes them taste really sweet. Giving them a good shake around as well. So now everything's in the oven. The chicken is pretty much cooked, so I'm just making sure I'm getting everything off the chicken and popping that into a big tray so we can see everything and see what we've got. And here are the delicious roasties. Honestly, these were so good. I was so proud of them. And then the carrots. So here is our lovely roast chicken dinner. We had some sweet corn, some roast potatoes, some chicken, some carrots, and some Yorkshire puddings, and loads of gravy, and it was so yummy. This is like one of our favourite meals as a family. I love to cook this. And this next dish is another firm family fave. This is meatballs in the slow cooker again. You can tell how much I love using my slow cooker. So we have got, I think there's about, is there 40 something meatballs? I think there was like that many. Anyway, we've got a lot of meatballs and we're going to season them with some paprika, salt and pepper, also some just mixed herbs. We've got some diced onion, some grated carrot, and also a big dollop of tomato puree that went everywhere, and some chopped tomatoes with herbs. And I'm also adding in a little bit of water into my tin just to get the extra juices and you're going to use 2 spoons and just mix everything together really slowly. Try not to break the meatballs. And once that's all nice and mixed together, you're going to pop the lid on and leave that on high for 3 to 4 hours. And when you come back, it's going to look and smell so good. You can thank me later, because this is honestly such a yummy meal. It's going to bubble away and it's going to be so yummy. And then I also like to add a little bit of mozzarella to the top. I added 3 little circles and they melt so good on top and it just looks so tasty. And then we've served ours with some spaghetti, and just look at that. I really want to just eat it all right now. So yummy. And then me and Steve also had a little bit of extra mozzarella on top of ours. There's also a reason why I made so much, is that I can have the leftovers for tomorrow's meal, which is meatball subs, is what I'm going to show you now. So this meal I'm going to do some homemade some homemade chips using potatoes for this meal, which honestly are just like the roasties as well. So nice. I love making homemade chips. So all you need to do is chop them up into chip size potatoes, and then you're going to part boil them again for around 10 minutes so that they're just a little bit soft. So I'm just popping some boiling water on here and then seasoning them again with some salt. Once they are nice and soft and they've been part boiled, I'm going to add lots of oil in there just so they're nice and coated, and then again season with some salt and some pepper. Also adding in a little bit of mixed herbs, and then I'm adding them to a baking tray like this, and I'll pop them in the oven for around 40 minutes at a temperature of 180 to 200 again. And then this is how I make the meatball subs. So I'm using some brioche rolls here, like hot dog rolls, and I'm popping in my meatballs in there, adding in the sauce as well that comes with it, and then I'm going to cover with some cheese. Then I'm going to pop these in the oven just so the cheese melts. And these are so good. The boys love them as well, because I think it's such a treat having something like this. And it's like a bit like Subway, like it's like a sub, meatball sub, and it's just so yummy. And the homemade chips are delicious as well. So we have this with some homemade chips and some sweet corn. Then the last meal I'm showing you is a slow cooker cookie dough. I have done this over on my Instagram and I thought I would share it on here. So what you're going to need to do is pop some baking paper into your slow cooker. So to a bowl, you're going to want to add in 50 grams of soft butter, 100 grams of caster sugar, 1 egg, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 150 grams of all-purpose flour, or plain flour basically, and then 30 milliliters of milk and some chocolate chips. Mix everything together till everything's combined, and then you're going to want to pop it in your slow cooker on high for 2 hours, and it should be absolutely perfect. When it's ready, it will look something like this, and honestly this is so yummy. It's so good. We usually have it with ice cream, but I will leave both of the dessert recipes down below in the description if you want to follow along. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, because it took me so long to film it. I love filming foodie videos, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Thank you for watching. Bye.